Thank you, everybody, for joining us again for Chamber Chat and Discover Magnolia. We're very pleased today to have the owner of Seven Hills Running, Phil. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Jason. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us. So, if you would tell us a little bit about your business and what's the story behind it? How did it get started?
Oh yeah, Seven Hills Running Shop. We started 2012. Um, we sell running shoes and running gear. Um, and I worked at another shoe store in Capitol Hill. It was called Seattle Running Company. I worked there for a long time, 2005 to 2012. Geez, 2005, 2012. And it was Seattle Running Company, and then it turned into Fleet Feet. And when it changed to Fleet Feet, it kind of just changed the feel of the store, and it was different than Seattle Running Company was. And so I had always thought of opening my own business, a store, a shoe store, but I couldn't quite figure out what type of shoe store or how to have another shoe store in Seattle because there's so many shoe stores in Seattle. And so I thought, does Seattle really need another shoe store? But as Seattle Running Company kind of went away and nothing really replaced it, I just figured, I could just be a store like Seattle Running Company used to be, which I liked, a lot of people liked. It was a store that focused more on just trail running and long distance ultra running, but still was just a normal shoe store, but it was a store that tried to get a different crowd of people to come as well, the really long distance runners and the trail runners. Um, so that's how that came about. I mean, I never would open a store. Seattle Running Company had still existed and was still doing what it was doing because I kind of just started because they ended. Um, and so that's that. Yeah. But prior to that, I thought of having, uh, when they were still going, I thought, oh, it'd be really nice to maybe have to go in business with him and have 50-50. Like they focus on the road running stuff that sold the most, and I would have the smaller subset of, the trail running shoes that we didn't, there weren't as many at the time, and they were harder to sell, and it was, but nowadays there's so many trail running shoes, there's so much trail running gear. I never saw that coming. As much as it expanded, I kind of got lucky there. Um, so that's how we started, why we started. I always wanted to do my own thing, but I also knew, um, it there was a need for it in Seattle at the time.
Yeah. So, you could have opened your shop at probably 100 different places. What made you decide to open up right here in Magnolia?
So Magnolia, yeah. So I lived in Wallingford at the time when we opened in 2012. Um, and at the time I was younger, we only had one kid. My wife and I only had one boy. And so I was biking around the city a lot. I would run all over the city. Like it wasn't as challenging going places because we lived in Wallingford. I wanted to start it in Wallingford. There was a couple spots. There's actually a shoe store called Mirage Comfort Shoes a few blocks away from where I lived, and I really was jealous of that store. I remember I'd go by it all the time. I'd go in there all the time. It was a really cool little store on Wallingford Avenue, close to 45th, and I was just like, wow, I want a store just like that, small, local, just in a neat location. And for like a year or so, I held out hope that maybe they would close and I could start there or whatever. I think since I don't think they exist anymore, so um, but anyway, so I had my eye open for like little spots like that, and I was biking to Discovery Park one day from Wallingford, and the route goes right by Seven Hills, the current Seven Hills spot. So I was biking by, saw the building, had a for lease sign, and you know, and I still, it still is like at a dream stage. I had always, for years working in retail, I dreamt about having my own store, and you know, so I just called the number on a hunch. I was just like, well, I'll just call, see what they say, see how much it's gonna cost, just see, and I met with the landlord, and man, he was a really nice man. Dean is his name. Really nice man, and he made me feel comfortable. He made me feel like he wanted me to like he'd be happy if I started the store there. There was no pressure. He wasn't like a business, like a high pressure business guy. He wasn't a. It was just an older fellow who lives in Magnolia, and he was a grandpa, maybe probably even a great grandpa now. And so he's just really nice, put me at ease, and shortly thereafter I signed a lease, and then once I signed the lease, it was just like, okay, let's figure it out and go, because I had a spot, and I knew, like, I had a vision for what I wanted, and so yeah, and then so that was that, and about a year later, my wife and I moved to Magnolia. I never really had any intentions to move to Magnolia. I don't think my wife and I ever thought much about Magnolia in the sense of like living here. I mean, we were fine in Wallingford. I loved coming to Discovery Park. I ran in Magnolia all the time along the bluff. It's always been one of my running spots. Um, but the house I'm sitting in now came on the market, and my wife and I put in an offer. We thought we wouldn't get it because everything, nobody gets the house they want with one offer, and nobody, somehow we got it with one offer and no bidding war,
Wow.
and so that was about a year after opening the store. So ever since then, so the last 8 years, we've been living in Magnolia, and 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 working with the shop here. So I couldn't imagine still living in Wallingford, and having to go from Wallingford to Magnolia multiple times a day, oh man, because now we have 4 kids, and I'm
Oh,
constantly just in and out of the shop, coming and going, and it's just easy because we live a mile up the street. It would have been really hard to do that living in Wallingford. So I'm glad we live here now, and it's a nice quiet neighborhood to live and to run and to have a shop.
sounds like it was just meant to be. All the
Yeah,
pieces came
it really
together.
got lucky. I mean, just biking by that day, seeing the sign. I mean, a lot of people go by the store and say they don't notice the store, and we have a pretty big sign. And so it was a really small for lease sign. So I don't even know how I even noticed the little small sign.
Huh.
But I was, like I said, I was looking for little small spots that could possibly be a store. And so that's probably why I probably just, you know, I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really got lucky.
Oh, wow. Well, tell us a little bit about your community involvement, if you would.
Oh yeah, so so definitely since moving here too and living in Magnolia, it's been fun. I've wanted to do all I can uh, to support the community. It's been hard the last year and a half, ever since COVID started, because not much has gone on.
Yeah.
But just the little things like Fatima, the local Catholic K-8 school, always emails me for uh, donate for their auction items, like to donate a gift card for their auction. So I've done that a bunch. The Blaine, it was really fun when the last year my boys went to the Blaine Elementary. They had a carnival, and we whatever donated whatever it was to sponsor one of the game boosts. I can't remember which game it was that we got, but it was just fun seeing like this, this game sponsored by Seven Hills Running or whatever. It was
Yeah.
cool. And when the store first opened, there was a local 5K, 10K in Magnolia, Run the Bluff, put on by another company, and we tried to help that out. It just never. I think it went for a year or two, went away, came back for a year, went away, hasn't been back. That's something we tried to just give a little money to, tried to get it going, but that was hard for us to keep going. But just those little things. My kids love soccer, so I really tried to be involved with the Magnolia Soccer Club, but they're a tough one. They it seems like they don't. I can't get a hold of them, and they never want. I can never get my. I got my uh, shop on a jersey one year, I think, and I didn't even realize it was on the jersey because they never told me. And then after the fact, they sent me photos of all these kids with the Seven Hills jersey on. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that was happening. Like they didn't even tell me, and I didn't even pay them money. And then so one year I paid them money, and I don't think that year I got on a jersey because it was too late, but I felt like I owed them the money because I was on the jersey the one time, and one year they hung up a banner for us, and I don't. But yeah, I would love to support that club more because my kids love playing soccer. But just things like that. One year the Bike to Bluff, I think we donate a little bit. We'll be one of the Bike to Bluff sponsors. But yeah, but it has been hard the last year with not much going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what's something that you love about the type of business that you're in, the industry that you're in?
Oh yeah, so I like how with shoes, I've always been a shoe guy, just liking different shoes. So trail running shoes, specifically road running shoes too. Now just they're always changing. There's always new ones. It hasn't been boring the last several years of running shoes. There's so many new ones coming out. But specifically with trail running, when we opened the store in 2012, a lot of people were telling me that they didn't think it was a good idea. There's just weren't enough trail running shoes to have a store mostly devoted to trail running shoes. And I was like, well, we're going to be small. There's enough. We'll have enough. It's not going to be, the biggest shoe store ever anyway, so it doesn't matter. But every year there's just more and more shoes that have come out. So we couldn't possibly have all the shoes we wanted, as opposed to 8 years ago. I felt like we could have all the shoes that we'd want. And yeah, there's just so many shoes, and I just always like to see how it goes. When we first started, more minimal shoes were popular. Now the super cushioned shoes are popular, and with road running, there's all these carbon plated shoes that are really popular, but we don't sell many because no one really seems to ask about them. But all the fast people running marathons are in these carbon plated $250 shoes that I don't know where they're buying them from because we don't sell them. I don't think Super Jock and Jill sells many of them. I'm not sure. They must buy them just, direct online. But it's just crazy to think like this, how the shoes have changed over the years.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've always admired about you and your business, Phil, is the sense of community that seems to be fostered by Seven Hills Running. You see people, a whole, gaggle of people out in front of your shop preparing for a group run, and it just seems to be a very tight-knit community. So if there's a few people that are watching this video and they've not happened to notice your sign, can you explain the location of your shop as well as how they might find your website, if you're on social media, just ways to connect with you?
So we're Seven Hills Running Shop sevenhills.com, seven spelled out. Seven Hills Running on Instagram is mostly we do Instagram. Seven Hills Running spelled out seven. Um, and yeah, we're right in Magnolia across from the lock, so on the bike loop. So if you've ever done the Magnolia bike loop, you've gone by the shop. It's just at the really curvy, so at the really curvy spot. So that's why nobody notices, because you're worried about not getting hit by a car, or you're worried about we're right by the uh, blinking yellow light, which it's just strange. There aren't any traffic lights in Magnolia, right? We got that one blinking, yeah, it's a blinking yellow light just on the S curve. And
Yeah.
so many people stop and when they're not supposed to stop. And most people don't stop, but some people stop. And then everyone's like, why are they stopping? They're not supposed to stop there. But it's, yeah, right. It's government way, but it's the curvy spot. It's the curvy road that leads into Discovery Park.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever gone to Discovery Park, on that direction, not the Magnolia Boulevard way. If you've gone to Discovery Park the other way, it's probably been by the shop. And yeah, it's great too if you run across the locks or bike across the locks, and you go across the railroad tracks. You pop right out, so you're right in front of the store. Basically, the first buildings you get to, we're right there, and so we're on a great biking loop and a running loop. Um, and so, yeah, it's a good spot we get a lot of people that come just park. I see them park right in front of the store. They come in, they get a couple goos. They just leave their car there and just start their run. They just go run because it's right close to Discovery Park. You just go run, do a loop, come back. And so I always try to tell people who don't want to come to the store because we're in a small corner of the city. It's like, hey, we're right by Discovery Park. I mean, you should want to come to Discovery Park several times a year because it's just a great place to go. And so when you come to Discovery Park, just pop in and come see us.
Yeah. Well, Phil, thank you for taking the time to share a little bit about your story and about the shop.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for all you do in the community as well. Hope to see you on a run soon. I won't be running, maybe watching you run.
Yeah, I always see you running by through the village there. When I go through the village, I see you.
It's good to have you on today. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, see ya.
Take care.